the idea that actually you're not broken. You just need to get back to your sort of true version of yourself. And I think a lot of the times when we're going through a lot of stuff, I think we convince ourselves that we're broken, that we need to be fixed. And that's how I felt at the time. I was like, I'm not right. I need to fix myself. You get to a point where you go, okay, I've got to turn this around somehow. And I did a few things like a Tony Robbins course and, all of those things in terms of just getting myself together. I cut alcohol out of my life and made a few decisions like that. Mm-hmm. And so that 2018 series of Strictly was very much, it felt like me getting myself together and getting a lot more focused. I used to be in a musical called Rock of Ages, and I was playing like a rock star, and he sings Bon Jovi's Dead or Alive. So I was singing that song, and I had to sort of dress up all rocky for that to play the part. So I was in my absolute element.
You were like, yes, I'm doing it.
With leather jacket on and sunglasses, and I had all these rings, and I felt amazing. And I came home, and Stacey was like, don't come near me dressed like that. It's like a different person. Like this.
That's a tricky one. I just imagine that you guys, just rehearsing this newly made up routines all the time, like every day. Is that like that?
You know what? Stace loves dancing. She just like...
Don't tell me you don't. Obviously you do as well.
No, I don't. I don't like dancing in the house at all.
What?
I've always done. It's always been part of like my routine and my job, and it's what I do as a performer. Like I have no sort of no wish to dance at home.
Hello, it's Nataliya, and welcome to Beehive Podcast, the place where insightful conversations with the most extraordinary people take place. Each episode is an opportunity to explore my guests' personal journeys, lifestyle choices, and aspects of their personal success formula. Join me by subscribing now and enjoy the listen.
Just start with saying that I've never had to chase a boy this much, so I'm happy I got you here on this podcast. I did it. I feel glorious. So welcome. I wanted to take you back to Waltham, where you grew up first. So both of your parents were professional dancers, and you and your sister followed the footsteps. So what was your home life like back then? What were your daily routines to ensure that you become this star dancer that you are now?
Yes, so I started dancing when I was about 4 years old. So I'm told. Like I don't really remember like my first dance class or whatever. But so my mum and dad had a dance school, Clifton Dance Academy, and so I'm told, me and my sister we'd get taken along sometimes to the dance classes, and we'd just be sat at the back, like just trying to keep out of the way and with a colouring book or something. And we just started joining in, apparently, because it was exciting, everyone jumping around in front of us. So we just started at the back of the room trying to copy everyone. And then from there, mum and dad obviously put us into some kids class. And so dancing was it just became I've always known it as like a part of my life. So it was very much routine. It was, from like go to school, come home, have something to eat, go to dancing. It was just, it was never like this thing that I started doing. As long as I can remember, it's always been part of my routine. So yeah, I was around dancing all the time. I was at the dance school all the time. So that's what my life looked like, really. And then we started taking it quite seriously, like sort of from, I think I did my first competition when I was about six or seven, something like that. And then it became, okay, I'm a competitor now. And it was like, okay, we're having lessons regularly to get ready for competitions. And it's sort of all I knew.
So now you're obviously a megastar. There's a dancer that is, celebrity dancer that is widely recognized, and obviously Strictly Come Dancing is that the project that gave you that fame at first, or was it before?
Well, in terms of being well known, yeah. I mean, I did one of the biggest things I did was I did Broadway in 2009. I did Broadway with a show called Burn the Floor, which has been a huge part of my life. It's still a massive part of my life. Because I left competitions in my 20s to go and do theatre. And so I did Burn the Floor 2009 on Broadway, and then I did Dirty Dancing, the musical, in the West End in 2010. So those were sort of a couple of big things that I did, but it's not necessarily, you don't become a celebrity out of that. Then Strictly Come Dancing came about in 2013, and it was at a time when I just thought I could have stayed doing Burn the Floor. I was on and off touring with Burn the Floor for a few years, and I loved it. And I thought I could stay doing this forever and be happy. But then you can't do that forever because my body won't let me do it forever. I always felt like Strictly Come Dancing obviously was a massively successful show and a really great show. And I just thought maybe initially I thought maybe that'll help with different opportunities. If I just sort of expand a little bit and do something that's a bit more well known. But then, I joined and I ended up loving it. And I just thought, maybe I'll do it for a couple of years. But I ended up absolutely loving it and stayed for 7 years. But it took me a while to get on the show because I got rejected twice before getting on the show in terms of auditioning for it. And I found out that the problem was my image. They were happy with the dancing, happy with the teaching and blah, blah, blah. But I was a goth. I had long black hair down to my shoulders and black eye makeup and black fingernails and rings and chains. And
right.
I was very gothy. So they were like, we don't need this guy for the most successful show on TV.
Right.
So I found out that was the case. And
not so much for diversity then.
Well, I think it was more that my image was, my sort of thought process was, I'm going to be like the rock star of the ballroom and everyone's got to get used to it and I'm going to change it up and blah, blah, blah. And they really didn't need to change it up. They had no need to. They were massively successful. So they were like, it's primetime family show. We don't need this scary looking guy. So, but then so I found that out and just did something about that and cut my hair and put a shirt and tie on and ended up getting the job.
Well, it is quite a drastic change though, from goth to boy next door. An image kind of thing. So how are you finding this image now? How are you living? Are you tempted? Is it like in the evening you just come out with Stacey, like black nails, like the wig on, the makeup on? Like it must be somewhere in you if you liked it, if this was your style. It's not so easy to just cut it out.
I'm
Share
always
the secret between you and I.
I'm always tempted because I to sort of go back to that, but Stacey thinks it's hideous. She hates it. And the other day I was actually, because there's an event coming up called Rise Up with Arts where that I was performing at, where it was recorded in a theatre and I was singing. I used to be in a musical called Rock of Ages, and I was playing like a rock star, and he sings Bon Jovi's Dead or Alive. So I was singing that song, and I had to sort of dress up all rocky for that to play the part. So I was in my absolute
element. Were like, yes, I'm doing it.
With leather jacket on and sunglasses, and I had all these rings, and I felt amazing. And I came home, and Stacey was like, Don't come near me dressed like that. It's like a different person. Like
that's a tricky one. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, the balancing act, and being what other people want you to be.
Yeah, that's something I've always struggled with. And I felt like I guess for Strictly I had to. It's not like I had to become a different person. That there's different sides to everyone. Everyone's a different person in different situations. Like out on a night out with your best friends compared to, going to visit your mother-in-law or something. It's like you're two
very different.
And differently, and so for me, it was when I went on Strictly. It's still a real side of me. It was just a different side of me, and that's the side that worked best for that environment, I think.
For work. Yeah. Well, it's a different avatar, if you may.
Yeah.
So you just need to put on and perform. Yeah. Well, now I'm worried about the goth avatar just being suppressed.
Yeah. Well, it got to come out when I was doing Rock of Ages.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So now you've moved into your partner's, Stacey Dooley's, new stunning Victorian home. Is that right? Yeah. So, and people were getting this little snippets of it on social media, mainly which Stacey shared. So, how much of a say are you having on the interiors?
Very little. The thing is, she's obsessed with it. She's absolutely obsessed. She all she does is look at houses and different ideas for different rooms, like all day, every day. She loves it. And because before we were in a little flat. Well, I was in a little flat in Kingston, and she was in a little flat in sort of near Notting Hill. But it was a tiny flat, and it was during lockdown that we just went, because I pretty much moved in with Stace in Notting Hill, and it was lockdown, and we just went, you know what, we need a bit of space, because we were so sort of just locked up in that room, and we're both used to traveling around so much that it wasn't so much of a priority for me, because I was just always on tour, always doing different things. Stacey was always abroad somewhere filming documentaries. But then when we were spending so much time in, we really got to sort of thinking we need some more space. We need some outside space. We need a garden. And we were like, yeah, but can we actually get something during lockdown? Is that a good idea? I don't know. And in the end, we just went, yeah, let's do it. And we bought this place in Southeast London, which is where we've got plenty of space and a garden. And it's absolutely become Stacey's baby, and she had all these ideas for it, and she sort of nervously went, have you got any specific ideas that you want, because I want to do all these things. And I was like, look, you take care of it, because you obviously you've got all these ideas, and I don't have many ideas, so you take. So Stacey's been in charge of everything, apart from one. There was like a corner of the living room where she wanted to build like a little cupboard for all the wires of, like the Wi-Fi and PlayStation and, like all these wires by the TV.
Like all the AV stuff.
Yeah, she wanted to cover it all up, but it's like a little cove in the wall, and she wanted it to fit snug into that wall, but that would have meant having a smaller TV. So that's the one area that I fought her on, and said, look, you
can't compromise.
House. Let me have this corner. So we compromised and had it built so it sort of fits snug into that cove, and then comes out on a diagonal so the TV can fit on that. And that was my contribution, basically. Like me in my flat in Kingston, I think the biggest thing I changed in that flat that I was renting is that I put some stickers on the light switch that were Star Wars themed, that said light side and dark side.
Love it.
My housemates that I lived with dropped off like some things that I left there, which were like some Star Wars coasters of like Darth Vader and a stormtrooper. And they dropped them off, and I was like, oh, wicked, yeah. And then for the last week, I haven't been able to find them. And I said to Stacey, did you throw away my Star Wars coasters? And she went, I just think for all the work that I've done in these rooms in this house, it's unrealistic to think that they would play a part in it.
I love it. It certainly reminds quite a few situations with me and my husband, so I can completely relate to that. But this is quite funny. So how often do you dance around the house? I just imagine that you guys, just rehearsing this newly made up routines all the time, like every day. Is that like that?
You know what? Stace loves dancing. She just like...
Don't tell me you don't. Obviously you do as well.
No, I don't. I don't like dancing in the house at all.
What?
I've always done. It's always been part of like my routine and my job, and it's what I do as a performer. Like I have no sort of no wish to dance at home. I never dance for fun. It's really weird. Stacey makes fun of me because I never dance for fun. I'm always dancing as a performance, or like as my job. I never just dance for fun. I also don't quite know what to do when I'm dancing for fun. Like,
so hang on, like back prior the pandemic, in I don't know, in a club, in a bar, you wouldn't dance?
No, it was big.
Wow.
My birthday party, like, yeah, pre-pandemic days, and Stacey sorted out this whole party in this bar, and loads of my friends were coming, and everyone was dancing like all night, and I spent the whole night just chatting, like just standing at the side chatting, because I don't know, I've got no wish to get up on the dance floor.
I'm gonna step a little bit back and actually dig a little bit deeper. So you have two relatively short, dare I say, marriages behind you, and you were still married when you met Stacey, when you were paired up on Strictly Come Dancing in 2018, and went on and won the series. So how was it for you behind closed doors, dealing with the mix of emotions of actually winning the show that you devoted so many years to, and going through the divorce at the same time, and still having to work with your ex-spouse, Karen? How was it?
It was actually okay. Me and Karen have always remained good friends, and it's been very amicable. The whole process, which is good, because I think if it wasn't like that, then it would have been very difficult. But no, we've both been very professional through that whole thing, and you know, we've both been on good terms. In terms of like when me and Stace won, it was a mad time, because, you know, apart from sort of those personal things, I'd gone through a bit of a rough time just sort of mentally in my life for a few years. I struggled. I think it was a mix of being totally burnt out from just, I never really took a break. It was always just project to project, and just, I always throw myself into something, like into a project, and I'm so sort of committed to it. And I think I was totally burnt out, and just going through a bit of a rough time mentally. And I'd gone through a few changes. You know, you get to a point where you go, okay, I've got to turn this around somehow. And I did a few things like a Tony Robbins course, and, you know, all of those things in terms of just getting myself together. I cut alcohol out of my life, and you know, made a few decisions like that. And so that 2018 series of Strictly was very much, it felt like me getting myself together and getting a lot more focused. Which, I mean, the result was that me and Stace won. But like, I mean, Stace was amazing. I'm not going to take all the credit for it. But, yeah, she was awesome. But I think when me and Stace eventually got together, and, you know, and after winning and all of that, I was in much more of a place of, I was allowing good things to happen to me, and I was in a much better place for them to happen. If that makes sense, because I was a lot more together as a person, whereas I had been sort of quite chaotic, and there's a lot of things going on for me. But yeah, like 2018, I was in a much better place, and and then me
great
and
things happened.
And then later on we ended up in a relationship, and I think there was just more space for those things to happen.
What was the mindset change for you?
One of the things that one of my biggest takeaways when I did the Tony Robbins course was the idea that actually you're not broken. You just need to get back to your sort of true version of yourself. And I think a lot of the times when we're going through a lot of stuff, I think we convince ourselves that we're broken, that we need to be fixed. And that's how I felt at the time. I was like, I'm not right. I need to fix myself. And on the Tony Robbins course, he was sort of saying about how, like, when you're a kid, you're just new and you don't know anything, and you don't have any sort of perception of anything. You just sort of do what you want. So if I'm 2 years old and right now I just want to get up out this chair and run around this room going, you just do it, because you don't know any different. As we get older, we sort of learn things that, like, oh, you can't behave like that, you know, you have to, and some of them for good reason. That would be rude if I got up and started just running around the room right now.
No, please do. Please do. That's going to be quite liberating and different, actually.
But also what we do is we start to form this thing that we end up calling our identity. Is that we it was described to me as like we're a blank sheet of paper, and then we start putting all these stickers on ourselves. So we put this sticker on myself. Okay, I dress like this. This is the kind of music that I listen to. These are the type of friends that I have. This is how I behave in these situations. And then for whatever reason, once these stickers are on us, we don't want to take them off. We fight for them. And so for example, when I was in that zone of, you know, I'm a goth, it was like, even if on some days I didn't want to dress like a goth, or even if, say, some sugary pop song came on and I actually quite liked it, I wouldn't admit that I liked it, or, you know, I wouldn't dress how I wanted to dress on that day. I'd fight for my gothiness, because that's my identity now. I'm a goth, and I listen to rock music, and I have black fingernails, and, you know, it's weird how we sort of fight for it to stick to what I am, when actually we don't have to do any of that. It's just, and you know, you can sort of be whatever you want to be in terms of your identity as a person. But we put these stickers on ourselves, and I think sometimes we put so many stickers on that we drown in it and go, oh my God, I'm this now, and I can't get out of it because this is how everyone knows me. This is, you know, I can't change anything because I've built this now, this identity. Actually, you're still just underneath all those stickers. You're just you, whatever you is. It's just all this stuff that you've put on yourself. So you don't have to fix anything. You're not broken under those stickers. You just take some of the stickers off. And I think once you realize that underneath all these stickers, there's a person who you always have been. The things that you always have liked, you've just been pretending that you didn't, or you've been pretending that you do like that stuff because just to fit in with those people, or, you know, underneath there's just you and the things that you like and the things that you want to do. And I think the best thing that people can do is to get in touch with that. And it's not necessarily an easy process, but just what a lot of people have got at the moment is time. And obviously if you're struggling to put food on the table or for shelter, that's a whole different ball game. But you know, as long as you've got shelter and you've got food, then what you've got at the moment is probably a bit more time. And it's interesting to get in touch with the things that you actually surround yourself with, the things that you actually like doing. And it might not be the things that you've been telling everyone else and yourself that you like. And you know, I found that I said for the longest time, I'm going to be, once I finish dancing as a performer, I'm going to be a choreographer. And it was always what I told myself and what I told everyone. I want to be a choreographer. I'm going to choreograph musicals and Strictly Come Dancing and da. I took a couple of choreography jobs and I was just hating it.
Oh,
and
really?
I didn't want to do it. And then I figured out I'm actually only doing this because it's what I've been saying I want to do for so long. But do I actually want to do this? Or is it just the sticker that I've put on myself, choreographer guy? And I actually figured out that what I wanted to do was just, my thing that I love is performing, and so dancing and singing and acting. And so I just threw myself more into that. So sometimes it's just a case of realizing the stuff that you're really into and the stuff that actually brings you joy, as opposed to the stickers you've put on yourself, the things that you've told yourself and other people, I'm this, when it might not be.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's 100%. It's a little bit of those stigmatized opinions that come from outside, as well as what you impose on yourself. But you rightly said, things that bring you joy.
When it comes to things like mental health, there's still a lot of people don't want to say it. Like, they don't want to mention it. They don't want to say, oh, I'm struggling. But they're like, you know, look, people have had it much worse than me. But like when I went through just, you know, a little bit of a period where I felt like I was sort of struggling, I was sort of drowning in everything and didn't know quite which way to turn. I was lucky enough to have people around, and that I just sort of said it, and the reaction wasn't, you know, oh, come on, grow a pair, or you know, we don't believe you. It was okay. How can I help? You know, like, what do you need? let's talk about it. Let's do this, you know. And people throwing suggestions. What if you did this? What if you did that? And it was amazing just to take that little step back, actually.
What helped you to speak up? What is that trigger? Because obviously it's, so we're recognizing now that it's, you need to seek help. You know, when you are in that state, you need to be able to talk. What made you open up? How did you get to that? Was there a period where you were suffering kind of within yourself without talking to anyone?
Yeah, although I probably wouldn't have at the time. I probably wasn't thinking of it in terms of, oh, I'm suffering mentally, or you know, or anything like that. I was just carrying on about my life, thinking that I could just plow through, and just getting to a point where it felt like every day was horrible. And there was one weekend in particular where I, like, long story short, I was supposed to be going up to my mum and dad's to play. My dad liked playing golf. I didn't play, but I like, our thing that we do together sometimes would be like, I'd go and just walk around caddying for him, like carrying his clubs while he plays, and we'd just chat and you know, talk. And you know, it was a nice thing that we do together sometimes. And like, long story short, I just, there's one weekend I was supposed to do that, and we hadn't done it in ages, and Dad was really looking forward to it. And then I couldn't, I ended up not making it, and missed it, and my dad was upset, and I think at that point I was just like, come on, like I've got to sort myself out, like, you know, I life used to be better than it is right now. and something's got to change. And at that point I just went, oh God, I don't know what, but something has to change, like, to friends. And at the same time, actually, I'd booked to go on that Tony Robbins course, and that, you know, some people are into that kind of thing, and some people aren't. I went there for the Tony Robbins course for the first day, when everyone was sort of jumping up and down and chanting and singing, and I was like, oh, very American and very I feel a bit silly. But then, you know, you get to the point where you're like, right, I've spent this money, I'm going to be here for 4 days, I might as well
give it the best shot.
just submit to it, and if nothing happens, nothing happens. But if you go and spend this money and don't have a go at it, then you've wasted your own time and money. So I just sort of surrendered to the whole thing, and sort of felt quite good coming out of it, out of them 4 days. And you know, you start writing down, okay, it just makes you identify, like, okay, what specifically, rather than just saying, oh, I don't feel good, specifically, what's wrong, what do you want to change, and be very specific about it, and then just work from there and start taking action on it. And things just started getting better. Yeah. And it wasn't like, oh, okay, today everything feels amazing. It was just gradually things started getting better. I was performing better. I was better around my friends. I was just, I started booking more and more, you know, musicals, and then one Strictly Come Dancing, and I don't know, everything just gradually got better.
We obviously touched the subject on the mental health, and social media definitely has its darker side as well. And you are no stranger to dealings with online trolling and bullying. Is it something you take on the chin as part of your stardom, or is it causing some sort of frustration and stress?
I'm much better at it now. I think early days when I was first on Strictly, it was like an addiction. It was like, you know, you look for, I'm so used to a life of being judged by external things all the time. So I was in competitions when I was a kid, you know, it was like, whether I was feeling good about myself came down to how these judges judged me at the competition, you know, for whether I'm doing a good job or not. Then I'm in the theatre, I'm performing for an audience or reviewers, or, you know, like, it's, you get feedback all the time.
The ovations,
and then on Strictly, it's literally like millions of people watching, and 4 people sit on the panel and give you a mark out of 10, and then you find out whether the millions watching have voted you through to next week or not. And then you come off out of that, and it's like you're seeking out that validation. So you go straight onto Twitter to see what everyone thought of the dance. And it shouldn't really, well, it should matter because you're doing it for them. You want to entertain everyone, but at the same time, social media is a tricky one because you can get so wrapped up in people's comments. And you know, now I just think, like, you know, would you go to that person who's writing that thing on Twitter for advice? If not, then don't worry about what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know, if it's some well-respected dance person that's saying whether they liked your dance or not, if it's, you know, Sir Matthew Bourne saying, I really liked it or didn't like it, you sort of go, okay, that's interesting. But if it's, you know, someone that you've never met or seen before, and they've got a picture of an egg as their profile and a load of numbers, and they've got 2 followers, like, it doesn't matter what their opinion is on your dance, because you wouldn't seek out their opinion anyway. Now I'm a lot better at it. I tend to sort of not look a lot of the time in terms of comments. Stacey's just come off Twitter because she was like, I don't know why I have it. Like, Instagram is her main sort of social media that she uses. She doesn't go on Twitter that much in terms of using it for promoting anything. And she was like, Stacey said recently, I was in a habit of, you know, first thing in the morning, just by habit, you just check the social medias, check Twitter, and you see a load of trolling, you know, a load of horrible stuff about yourself. That's how you start your day.
Yeah.
And then you go to bed at night, you do the same thing before you go to bed. So you're waking up to start your day with some trolls and going to bed looking at some opinions of some trolls. And so she was like, this is the phone next to my bed. And she said, if this was an actual person in my bed, I would consider that an abusive relationship. So I'm just going to get rid of it. So she got rid of it. And she feels much better not having it. I think people are, on the whole, a bit kinder on Instagram. I've still got Twitter, but I don't feed into, like, if someone says some horrible comment, it's a lot easier for me now to just block them rather than go, oh, I've got to respond, or why did they say that? Or
Yeah.
But early days, especially when it sort of first became well known on Strictly, it was horrible because it's social media and it's media as well, you know, newspapers and stuff, and you see things written about you. It's horrible. Like, when I first came on Strictly, there's one newspaper was crying out for they wanted more English professionals on the shows. There was too many foreigners, and they wanted more English, but, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then on that year in 2013, there was 5 new pros, and I was the only English one that came on. And before I'd said anything on camera, all that had happened is I'd been announced as a new pro. They hadn't seen me dance, hadn't seen me on camera, and didn't know anything of what I was capable of. And they had a big, like, picture of me, which wasn't it wasn't a very flattering picture. They'd obviously found it on a social media or something. And the headline in this paper was like, this pasty boy from Grimsby, is this really the best we can do in England? We've been crying out for more Brits. Is this the best we can do? And I was like,
oh,
wow. That was my introduction to, like, being on TV.
The big world, yeah.
The public eye. I was like, wow, okay.
Welcome to the big world, isn't it? Straight away.
Yeah. And then what that does is that riles everybody up. You know, people feel like they've then got to comment on social media, and it's sort of, once they've read that, it's like they go, yeah, oh my God, is that the best we can do? And it's like they've just been fed this thought, and then suddenly I'm getting all these Twitter messages and going, what are you doing on the show? Da, 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 da. I was like, oh my God, I haven't even started.
How crazy. And obviously, as any human being, we're all dealing with so many insecurities. You know, we're just constantly trying to evolve, trying to become better people. But confidence is certainly something, it's like a constant search. And it's so easy to knock it. You know, some people appear on the outside stronger than others, but it's certainly, when it's kicked like this, I can't even imagine what it feels like. And it's interesting. I've never thought of it that way. You said that, you know, as part of being entertainer, you're right. You constantly need to have that validation. It's not that you need, but you start off with it. It's almost a concept that would require validation, would require some sort of a praise from outside, and
Yeah.
you getting used to it, because it's very interesting. I've got two little girls, so 3 and 5, and something that I am trying to balance is the actually the leverage the praise, not to give too much and not to give too little, kind of like be, and for them, exactly for that reason, for them to start seeking that validation from within rather than from outside, for mommy to be okay, mommy liked it, daddy liked it, my teachers liked it, then this is what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And from young age, it's something that, every parent has their own approach, but I'm so aware of that balancing feedback for them not to start being addicted to my approval or anyone else's approval. But you're right, in world of entertainment, you being pushed through the whole career of that. So
Yeah.
to find yourself back into, how do I find that validation just within me and happy with my own appraisal of my own work? It's so hard.
And it's getting more and more
Unbelievable.
difficult for everybody because of social media, because social media becomes like a video game now, where it's like you have your avatar where you put forward your best picture of yourself or your best idea of yourself in front of everyone, and you hope for, in the same ways that you don't want your kids to get addicted to the approval all the time, you want them to find confidence in themselves. Do they like themselves? People now increasingly are becoming addicted to followers, to likes, that
Yes.
feeling of like, how many likes did I get on that post? How many retweets did I get? How many more followers have I got? What about compared to that person? Has that person got more followers of that? And it's this race for the likes and the retweets. And
That's right.
people will go towards the things that is going to get them more likes. So rather than doing the thing that they like, we were saying, like, find you again, rather than
Yeah.
just all these stickers that you put on. The stickers that are putting on are like, okay, that's what gets lots of likes, I'm going to do more of that. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, on social media and in the media, and this is why it is the way it is what tends to get a lot of attention and therefore likes and retweets and whatever on social media is outrage and arguments.
Yes.
So
The
you'll say,
virality of it.
yeah. So if I come off this if you come off this podcast and go onto your social media and say, I've just had a chat with Kevin, that'll get X number of likes. Or you could say, I've had a really nice chat with Kevin, that'll get a number of likes. If you say, I've just had a chat with Kevin and he was really horrible, and he said some really nasty things, and I've got a lot to say about it, that's going to get way more attention. Because people are going to go, oh, what's happened? Where's the outlet?
I can see now why I don't get that many likes.
So like,
I
that's,
love it. Yeah, you're right.
if that's the case, and people have got this built-in sort of search for approval, search for them likes, then people are going to do it more and more. That's one thing that I sort of just had to let go of, because I was so into, I was so worried about, what does everyone think of me, because I'm just brought up on it. What does everyone think, or do they like me or not? Is my performance good enough or not for them? It was never about, do I feel good about my performance? Do I feel good about myself? It was always, are they happy with it? Did I do a good job? Are they going to clap me? And it got to a point on a tour a few years ago where one of my colleagues that was in the show with me started nicknaming me Tinkerbell, because in the movie Hook,
Yeah.
when Julia Roberts is Tinkerbell, and it's like when she's dying, the whole thing is like you have to clap to keep the fairy alive, like that. So he was saying, you like Tinkerbell because there was a couple of nights on tour where we had an amazing night somewhere, and we got 4 standing ovations like towards the end of the show, and it was just incredible. And I was buzzing. I was coming off it. I was like, I have the best job in the world. This is the best show we've done. This is incredible. Well done, everyone. And I was just so happy about the whole thing because we've had 4 standing ovations. The next night we were in a different city, did exactly the same show. We went out, we all went out, performed amazingly, and we got 3 standing ovations. And it's like I wanted to give up, because that felt what should have felt like, wow, what another great show we did. 3 standing ovations. Da, 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 da. That, to me at the time, it wouldn't do now, but at the time it felt like they didn't like us as much as last night. And and my mate was like, you just got 3 standing ovations. And I was like, yeah, but last night we got 4.
Spoiled.
Yeah. I was like, we must have not done something as well tonight. Like, maybe I'm just not as good as I used to be. I'm going to give up. You know, it was like that. And you have, but that's what I'm saying is that's a lot of people right now, because like now it's just, oh, that post got this many likes, but oh, this post didn't get as many likes. Oh no, I'm ugly. Do you know what I mean? That was
yeah.
And I got less likes than a quote. Like, it must be me. That's the problem for everyone nowadays. Like, we put so much emphasis on how many likes we can get and comments. And
So true, so true. And honestly, I want for this episode to get out there for as many younger people to hear exactly that, to just have that understanding what superficial metrics we have nowadays out there that we measure ourselves against, and how detrimental they can be. And again, it's equally important not to get too ahead of ourselves, too big for our shoes when the likes are coming and the shares are coming and the followers are coming. But at the same time, just not to let that affect us at all, because the validation needs to come from within, and it's not easy. And you and I are grown-up people, and there's still that. I can imagine what it does to a teenager's mindset. What they're going through now. It's so incredibly hard, and I think there's certainly more work needs to be done to adjust to this. Maybe because maybe something is coming, but I feel like that whilst people are talking about it, I don't think there's enough of information about it. It's just by far not enough.
Yeah, but from my experience, it's only when I started to let go of a lot of that as much as possible and go, look, if people, I'm going to do my dancing like this, say on Strictly or whatever, I'm going to do my dancing like this. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean I'm a bad dancer or whatever.
Yeah.
That one didn't get as many votes as that one, or whatever, and not take things so personally, and not try to go after that, not try and think, okay, what can I do that is going to be liked more than the other stuff, not trying to fit everyone else's expectations, just trying to be, okay, like, take the stickers off. This is me, and I'm going to go and put me out there, and I'm going to do my thing the way I want to do it, as opposed to what I'm predicting they want me to do. And that's when everything started to come together. Like, as soon as I started to let go of all that, it was like, okay, I'm on my own track now. That was the year we won. I got an amazing new relationship, musicals, like all of this started to happen.
Yeah. No, 100%. And it's that getting rid of that fear of being disliked, and getting the courage of being disliked is actually one of my favorite books as well. When you just isolate yourself from someone else's story, it's their job to pass on their opinion. That's nothing to do with you, nothing to do with what you do, how you do it. It's just their own story based on their own perceptions, upbringing, life situations, life stories. And it's incredible skill. It's a lot of mind work, 100%. And I think it takes, what helps certainly is people like you speaking up about it and sharing your story that you were dealing with, in private, but making it public and actually putting it out there. I think it's a great courage, and it does enormous amount of good to the world. So keep doing it, keep going. Yeah, well done, Kevin. I'm very impressed. I cannot not mention the fact that you became known as the fertility king. All right. As this is because just for the benefit of the listeners, because some of your Strictly partners fell pregnant shortly after the show. So Stacey Dooley was your partner on Strictly.
Oh, God.
Now your life partner. And where am I going with this? Are there any plans to have children?
I mean, no plans to. We have sort of talked about it here and there. We're not planning it at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of the things that we're like, I always feel like, oh God, I'm not ready for that. But then everyone always says, look, you're never ready.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe at some point, but we're not. It's not like something that's being planned at the moment.
Right. Keep practicing for now. We'll see how that fertility kink nickname is going to pan out for you. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, Frankie got pregnant straight after Strictly, and then, well, actually, yeah, Frankie and Wayne. Yeah, she got pregnant. She was actually pregnant right at the end of Strictly, and she had to tell me because like we couldn't do any lift in the last couple of weeks, and I was like, "You're kidding me? It's like we're coming up. This is the last couple of weeks. She's like, "I can't. I'll throw up if I do any lifts." And nobody knew. She was like, "I'm pregnant." And I was like, oh, okay. And then I think it was Kelly got pregnant in 2015 after as well. Yeah.
Yes. So you got that nickname for a reason, for sure. So obviously all eyes on Stacey now. Now I have a couple of blitz questions to round up our interview. Your top book recommendation that changed your mindset?
That changed my mindset. Probably the Values Factor.
Values Factor.
Yeah, Dr. John DeMartini.
Ah, right, yes.
Yeah, which was very much based on that whole idea of what we were saying, actually, of putting your values sort of into a list of what you actually value, becoming as aware as possible of what you actually value and what you want out of life, rather than the things that you tell yourself or the things that you tell other people you want. Understanding. Yeah.
Cool one. No one mentioned that before. On my list. I've not read it. Love it.
Yeah, it's really...
Household tasks that you'd like to outsource?
Household tasks that I'd like to.
Are you the one washing dishes, cleaning, gardening? What do you like doing at home?
We have a dishwasher and we have a cleaner. That's already taken care of. The thing is,
do you cook?
No, this is what I was going to say, because Stace cooks a bit. I really don't, but I'm trying now, because like during lockdown, when I couldn't sort of work in theatre, she was still able to work and go out and do her documentaries, and she'd be like a full day, like on a psychiatric ward or something, having a real, difficult day. Yeah. And then come home, and it got to the point where it was like, I can't expect her to come home from that and cook for me, who's just been in the house all day. Like, I've got to learn something. So I've started to learn some things to do, but like I'm just terrible, and I find it really boring.
Favorite meal of the day and why? I guess dinner, when Stacey comes home and cooks it.
Yeah, for sure. Dinner if someone else has made it, or it's then that's the best.
Top choice for a famous house guest, and it can be a current or a historic figure.
Just to have someone round.
Anyone will do now, yeah.
Probably Ricky Gervais.
Interesting.
I find Ricky Gervais amazing. I love listening to him and anything that he does, and I love everything that he does. His stand-up, his TV shows,
Do you know him personally?
No, I've met him briefly once at like a awards thing, but no, I don't know him. But he'd be wicked.
I think he can come to your housewarming party.
Yeah, we'll invite him.
Yeah, do that. Let me know how it goes.
I've just embarrassed Stacey, because she just had her birthday, and I decided to put together a video of
We've all seen it.
Oh, right,
The decorations, it was all on social media.
But I put down like a video of like a load of her friends, all her best friends, or people that she sort of loves or admires, all saying
Right.
favorite thing about Stacey. And I put together this hour-long like movie of people, and I also messaged a load of people that she's just a big fan of, and now she knows this. She's so embarrassed that I did, like, because like not all these people were in the video, but I was messaging loads of people. So she loves Little Mix, the
Oh
group.
yeah.
So I was messaging all the girls from Little Mix, but I don't think they saw my message. So
Little Mix girls, can you please get back to Kevin Clifton? Oh, how funny. I know that didn't come on social media. We only saw all the balloons or
Oh yeah.
the beautiful setting that you made. Very
Yeah.
romantic. You're romantic, Kevin, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose I am a bit. Yeah. I got her. She's on Bake Off next week.
That's right.
Celebrity Bake Off, and well, without giving too much away, she's not the best baker in the world, and the results of what she did were hilarious. So for a birthday cake, a replica made of what it was supposed to be, the cake that she was trying to make. I had someone make that for a birthday cake.
Well, because is it? I think Kelly Holmes was on it recently, and what she was saying that they deliberately leave out certain ingredients from like to make it fun. Or
Interesting.
even I don't know. See, I'm kind of like this is what she mentioned, and I wonder if they actually make you mess up a little bit just to get a good good show. I don't know.
Rubbish regardless.
It's maybe it was Kelly's excuse for her baking.
They left out all my ingredients.
They just deliberately did that. So maybe they deliberately did that for Stacey.
Sure. I'm not so sure about
that. What is your dream house and location? Are you in the dream house? Is it your forever home?
I'd be happy with this being my forever home. Stacey, I think, is like, oh, we'll live here for a bit and then we'll go and live. And Stacey wants to live everywhere. She's always got all these ideas. One day she wants to go and move further out into the country somewhere and get a nice big space with massive garden and and all of that in the country. Mm-hmm. And then the next day she's like, let's get somewhere in Spain, and then it's Glasgow. And it's like, let's go and live in New York for a couple of years. And so yeah, Stacey. Who knows? Who knows?
Well. Hang on 1 second. I figured who wears trousers in the house. Tell me, where do you want to live? Where do you want to live? Where's Kevin Clifton's dream location?
We'll probably end up somewhere in a bit further out in the country somewhere. I reckon. I reckon that would be cool. But also, I do like the idea. I've already lived in New York once, so and I loved it. So I quite like the idea of just doing not forever, but just go and live in there for a couple of years maybe. Because like when we did Broadway, I was there for about 9 months, 8-9 months, living in New York, and I love New York City. I love it. So yeah, I like the idea of going back there.
Fabulous. Well, Kevin, it's been the most probably one of the most easygoing conversations, and I so enjoyed it. And thank you so much for being so real, so authentic, so you, opening up on everything. You just I feel like you're not holding back. You just you. And you own it, and I'm very happy. Obviously, I feel the chemistry with Stacey is fantastic, and I see nothing but a bright future for you two in your beautiful candy-styled house with the garden. And it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming to my podcast. It was worth the chase.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, and I'm sorry I couldn't be more helpful in terms of interior design because Stacey's the one with the art.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Beehive Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Bye now till the next episode. Look after yourselves and your loved ones.